Now is the time to get a job in tech sales. I'm going to share 3 actions you can take today to get hired sooner rather than later. The first action you can take today to get hired in tech sales is to identify your list of target companies that you want to work for that are actually hiring for the role that you think you can get. I think that this is a step that most people skip in their job search process, either due to arrogance or not understanding what you'll actually be doing in a sales job. The skills required to get the sales job are the same skills you'll actually use in a sales job. In a sales job, as an entry-level sales development rep or business development rep, you will be doing relentless prospecting. You will identify target accounts, you'll identify your ideal buyer persona within those accounts, and then you'll be using multiple channels of communication such as cold calling, cold emailing, LinkedIn, showing up in person, writing them a letter, whatever it takes to get their attention, to set a meeting, generate pipeline that ultimately results in closed revenue. That's the sales process in B2B. So if you're trying to get hired at one of these companies to do that sales process, why would you not do that process? Why would you be so arrogant to think that you don't need to understand what companies you're applying to? You're just going to take the lazy route and go to LinkedIn and say, who's hiring for an SDR? Let me just quick apply to 100 companies today and think that that's being productive. That is such a opposite of mindful way to go about it, and why the conversion rates and actually getting hired in that avenue doesn't really work, and most people end up quitting. So what you want to do is think about your work preferences. Do you want to be fully remote? Do you want to be in the office? Do you want to be hybrid? Do you want to work for a SaaS, software as a service company that is selling cybersecurity, that's selling HR software, that's selling go-to-market software, that's selling to IT professionals? What type of company do you want to be working for? What type of work do you want to be doing? Do you want to work for a private company? Do you want to work for a public company? Do you want to work for a private company that is raised hundreds of millions of dollars in venture capital funding? Or do you want to work for a private company that's 50 employees and doesn't really have that growth trajectory, but is maybe more stable, local hometown where you can work with all the people in the office? Be very clear about your work preferences and what type of company you want to work for and what type of product and customer you'll be selling to that you are actually interested in it. I was speaking to someone yesterday who just got hired as an SDR at AWS, Amazon Web Services. I'm sure a lot of you from the outside looking in think, wow, that's so impressive. He's probably making so much money. That'd be a great company to have on my resume. But he said the reason he went to them, he's like, oh, it'd be good to have on my resume for 2 years and then I'll decide where I want to go, and complaining about all the bureaucracy and processes and whatnot. And it's like, why would you not just start at the company that you're actually interested in and that you actually want to be working for from the start? I wouldn't look at this as like a leapfrog situation as, well, I'm underqualified, I've never done sales, I'm going to go somewhere I don't want to be so that maybe I can be somewhere where I want to be in the future. Figure out where you want to be and you could spend the next 10, 20 years at, and find those companies. Maybe it's only 3 companies. Maybe it's literally only 3 companies that meet that criteria. But the reason I'm going so deep on this point is because this is the most important step in the process. Once you've decided I'm getting in tech sales and you're committed, you want to be very, very certain in the companies you're going after, because that's going to take us into step number 2. Once you start applying to these companies, you will need to start actually selling yourself. Most people will quick apply. Most people will apply on the website or whatnot, and then they'll get the email, hey, you're in consideration, we'll get back to you, and then they'll go back to watching Netflix or YouTube and think, I did something today. But as part of step number 2, the next action you can take after you have your list is to start prospecting and actually doing the work of an SDR, BDR. After you apply, that is when the real work begins, because now what you'll do is you'll go on LinkedIn. I would highly recommend spending $100 to get LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Go look at the hierarchy of the company and figure out who are all of the SDR managers. Who is the head of SDR, the entire head of the program? Who is the head of sales? Who is the CEO, COO of the company? Get a list of all these people at the company you want to work for the most, and then craft a prospecting message that you can send to all of them. So your message, you want to look at the company, their values, their website, how they make money. Look at the actual job description and what they are seeking in that role, because your outreach is solving their problem. They want to hire someone that can help their company generate more revenue and grow faster. And if you believe you're the right person for that role, if you believe your skill set, your mindset, your beliefs, your past experiences uniquely qualify you for that role, then after you apply, you want to relentlessly prospect and go after all of these different people who can influence your hiring journey. So after you apply, you then reach out to everyone and say, hey, I noticed you're the XYZ, I just applied to this role. And then you can ask them either for time, an interview, or who actually makes the decision for this. Ultimately, you want to convey to them that you are capable of doing the job. And I know so many people who are not qualified, but who apply, who really understand the company and why they're applying to that role, and they understand their personal why, and they start doing the outreach. And it's as a result of that outreach and being persistent and maybe using the free Apollo subscription and finding a mobile number and calling the head of SDR, calling the entire leader of the department and calling them repetitively, leaving them voice messages. And then they're like, this person who's trying to get hired at my company literally is more persistent than most of the SDRs on my team. I will give this person an interview. And as part of that process, it's a given that you have optimized your LinkedIn profile and your resume, because if you don't have a great profile picture, if you don't have a nice tagline, a nice channel art, a good grammar formatted resume, then that's going to disqualify you when they actually go below the surface and decide, should I give this person an interview or not? And the third action you can be taking today is to invest in your self-development. Because when you're on this job search, you're going to be rejected, you're going to be told no, you're going to be told you're not a good fit, and it can be demoralizing. So in those situations when it feels like you have no more action to take, you have your list of companies, you have reached out to all these people and you're not seeing the results, the only logical next step is to continue investing in your development and continue to learn, because it's only a matter of time until you get the opportunity, until you get the interview, until you get the chance to actually get hired, because you put so much into this process without any expectation or guarantee of return. Just because you've committed to this goal does not mean it is guaranteed to happen by the start of 2025 or even by the end of 2025. And once you're okay with that, that's when you really are operating from a place of non-expectation and understanding your true intrinsic worth. And the only way you can have that conviction and belief in yourself is if you actually have the capability and you really know what you're doing. So of course you can continue watching videos like this one from people who have real world results and who've done it. You can read online blog posts, you can reach out to people at companies, ask them for their advice. These are all actions you can be taking, and I would expect you to be taking today. But if you are interested in truly investing in yourself and going to that next level and actually spending money on yourself, I am the instructor at Course Careers, where I have put together the most comprehensive and in-depth program teaching people to go from no experience, no degrees, no knowledge about tech sales to getting hired in tech sales. So I'd highly recommend you check out the free introductory course I've put together. I put a lot of work into it. I've linked that down below. So we've helped over 1,000 people get hired. And maybe you watch the intro course and you decide it's not for you, and that's totally okay, and you can go back to just mindlessly applying. But if you want to learn real world strategies that actually work, that is the best resource to expedite your learning journey. It's over 17 hours of paid content in an entire graduate portal that's really helps you stand out in the interview and application process. So that will be a great resource for you to check out, and among other things. So wishing you all the best in your journey. You absolutely have what it takes to get hired in tech sales. Go for roles you're not qualified for. That's what I did. And then I ended up at one of the best software companies in the world by doing that strategy. And you definitely can make it happen too. But keep working at it. And those are the 3 actions you can take today. Invest in yourself, build your company list, do the job to get the job. And it's all about self-development and growth in this knowledge performance-based profession. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Hit the thumbs up button if you found value in this video. Subscribe to the channel for more tech sales content, and I'll talk to you in the next video.